Hey everyone, welcome to the final show of 2024. Can you believe it? On a Monday night of all things. A bit unusual, I know, but hey, it is an unusual time of year, late December. I love it. I'm hanging around doing nothing, which is fantastic, no work. So I hope you're all enjoying yourselves as well this time of year. Let's say hello to, whoops, sorry, wrong button. Let's say hello to our regular co-host, of course, Riz. Hello, Riz, nice to see you. How's things?
Hey Tom, Merry Christmas to everybody. We've had a week and a bit off on the EV show, but we are back. There is quite a bit happening, and yeah, things have been well. I hope everybody had a good time, regardless of wherever they were. It's Australia, and some of our viewers are have gone global, Tom. So they might have seen a white Christmas because we haven't.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I hope you've all had a lovely time with family and friends wherever you are. And yeah, we're just enjoying the nice weather in Australia or maybe the cold weather on the other side of the world, wherever you might be watching. So thanks for joining us live. If you are watching us live, hello. We'll say hello very shortly to our regulars. Make sure you leave a comment. If you're watching us on replay, drop a comment as well. And if you're listening to us on audio podcast, hello. Thanks for joining us. Let's say thank you to our sponsors as always, and that is, of course, Carloop. Thank you, Riz. Data to empower Australia's EV revolution, and also Hankook driving emotion. I might just pop this banner up for the last time in 2024 until tomorrow. They still have a special buy three, get one free Hankook Ion EV specific tires. Mention the channel at Jack's nationwide to get that deal. If you have any issues, just drop me an email. I'll look after you for sure. All right, well, let's get on with the show. Before we do that, let's say hello to our special guest for this evening. That is Roland from Zapped YouTube channel. Hello, Roland. Nice to see you.
Hey Tom, hey Riz, and good evening to everyone else.
Hey, so good to have you on for the last show of 2024, Monday, 30th of December. Did you have a nice Christmas?
Yeah, it was good. No work, lots of food, too much food, and I'm sure the doctor's going to say, you got to cut down on that in the new year. But that's that's a next year problem.
That's an issue for 2025. We're still in 2024. It's all good. We'll look after you here. But yeah, good to have you on, and glad you had a nice Christmas as well. Let's say hello to some of our regular viewers. Thank you, David, for becoming a new member for Ludicrous Feed. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you, Steve. Nice to see you. And hello, Rob. Nice to see you as well. Hello, Murray S. Hello, Jez. Nice to see you. Hello there. Hello, Aaron. Yes, you are watching from New York. I've got a little post from you that you saw something in New York that we'll share very shortly. So thank you. Hello, Grandpa. Nice to see you. Hope you've all finished up your leftovers from your day of feast. I still have a bit of ham left. A bit of ham. I've got a lot of ham. Should share it out to the audience tonight. So much ham. Seriously. I don't know why we buy so much over Christmas. Hey, Oscar, nice to see you. Hello, Mitch. Yes, it is the last show for 2024. Indeed. And who else we got here? We got Paul. Hello. Hello, Richard. What's up, homies? Indeed. Hello, Tassie EV. Happy New Year very shortly, indeed. And hello, Jeanette. Nice to see you as well. Yeah, before we kick off the show, I just wanted to quickly say thank you to all the members who've posted super chats and bought memberships for each other on the stream. It's been really nice seeing that this year, actually. But I feel bad taking all your money. So what I've done is I've actually donated some of that money to the Kids Helpline, $1,000 on your behalf, Ludicrous Feed viewers. So yeah, thanks for watching this year, and yeah, keep those super chats coming because I'll just keep donating to a good cause, hopefully, at the end of the year. So this is all on you guys. Thank you so much for your help, and hopefully this will go to a good cause in 2025. Alrighty, let's kick off the show tonight with, what else have we got on to chat first? We've got, of course, how can we go without talking about the new Tesla Model Y? That is probably, would you say, gents, the most anticipated EV for next year? Is that too much of a hot take, or what do you reckon?
For sure.
Yeah, it's a bit hard because there's just so much happening. We'll cover, I think, another EV that is probably going to be even morely talked about a bit later in the show with a good friend of ours in China citing some of what's going on over there. But yeah, this is, I think, by far going to be the most adopted new model in 2025. They will sell over 1 million of these.
Ooh, nice prediction. Roland, you got a Model Y too. What do you think? Time for a change, or you going to see what's going to happen?
Bank account's crying, Tom. Bank account is crying on that
That's it.
depreciation.
That's beside the point. Come on, YOLO.
YOLO. So I guess, look, if you were to swap one, it'd be the performance swapping out for a rear wheel drive. So I don't know
Yes.
how that would go on the racetrack, but it's going to be quite compelling. Like I say it a fair bit on my channel whenever I talk about the Model Y. The seats are just, compared to everything else you can get these days, they're just not up to scratch. And to see that there's a better one, the seats are better, you can't help but think.
Roland, you're one of the
it's gonna
first
scratch the
people in the
itch.
country to see the Model 3 Highland performance
Yes.
because I
Oh,
remember
10
the
a.m.
photos.
I was there.
You were there. You're one of the first people. I remember seeing your photos. Was that enough of an upgrade on the
Mm.
seats? What do you think in general? If you forget about the fact
I
that you
think
might have to lose like 3 arms and a leg to
Kidney, half a spleen.
What do you think if the similar sort of seating got into the new Model Y? Is that a good enough thing in 2025, or would you expect it to be more comfier, something that we've seen in, like, let's say, the Xpeng G6?
I think if they had the adaptive suspension as well, definitely. And I say that because seats alone, whilst that's the main thing that's going to get you from A to B, looks obviously subjective. Like, some people like to have a unique looking car. I live in postcode 2155 in the hills. I know for a fact that my suburb, or the postcode, has the most Teslas in Australia. I literally do a kids drop off. I could count 15 easily. And so, yeah, I think they've got to have more than the seats. But the seats alone, I think, my genuine feedback is, if you were to try and think about getting a Model Y now versus later, I would personally say just hold off. The seats are so much better. Like, you get cooling seats as well.
Yeah, great summary, gents. I tend to agree. The new Model 3 seats are definitely a lot better than the previous Model 3 and the current Model Y, which we have. And just the general interior is a lot better. It's a lot more premium looking. The door shut noise is nicer. They've improved the safety, obviously. The buttressing on the side. The looks outside, that's subjective. That's fine. But yeah, I guess the two issues that people might not be happy with, although the sales don't really show this, Riz, stalks, ultrasonic sensors. What do you think? Is that going to turn people off, or is that just people just live with it like they have with the Model 3?
Yeah, it's always a bit. I think a lot of people that are buying this car, that bought the Model 3 Highland, aren't upgrading from an existing Model 3. Like I said, and Roland touched on this, you lose far too much to sell your existing car to get something newer, because the cars are still getting OTAs, they're still fairly well updated. So a lot of the buyers are new buyers, and you can sort of see that by the demographics data as well as to who's buying them across Australia. So I think the sales have generally slowed down for Tesla themselves. I think they're down about 20% over 2023. But they could catch up maybe in December. We don't know those figures yet, but I think the new Model Y will need to be priced pretty competitively. There's a lot of competition out there, but has the new competition got the credibility that Tesla's built over well over a decade in Australia? Do they have the supercharger network? Charging has become a big issue now, as we've learned with BYD Atto 3s and some of the previous seals. And even Xpeng G6 owners, some of them are struggling to get a proper charge out of Tesla Superchargers. I would suspect that is more of a user error, because they may not be aware that not every supercharger is open to non-Teslas. But at the same time, I think what Tesla does so well, they may even increase the price of the Model Y because there is a more affordable model that they want to slot in somewhere.
Mhm.
So if that comes out by the sort of end of first half of next year, then they may up the Model Y pricing. Maybe they have spec'd the car with those better seats, possibly better suspension, a few other goodies in there that most current Model Y and Model 3 owners aren't getting. So if that's the case, then it would be sitting a little bit above, and people would have the choice of an entry-level Tesla, a Model 3, and then a Model Y. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah, good point. There is Model 2, Model Q, whatever you want to call it. I think it probably will make its way eventually. What I find interesting, though, is that the Model 3 upgrade, of course, in that sedan space, there's not a lot of EVs to compete with, right? There was the BYD Seal, of course, which I have, and there's the Polestar 2, which it's probably more expensive than both of them. What the Model Y has to contend with, as you've already touched on, Xpeng G6, D-Power SO7, potentially Zeekr X, potentially Zeekr 7X, C-Line 7, D-Power, Leap Motor C10. There's a lot in this space for next year, so it's starting to get very packed, but it is probably the biggest selling segment when it comes to EVs and in cars in general after utes, so
Yeah.
not surprising at all to see. But you know what, Riz and Roland, it's going to be very interesting for us as commentators leading to 2025 Q1 and Q2. Yeah, so very interesting times. Can't wait. And just showing this tab here. This is from Car China News. So yeah, they're making them. It's almost pretty much all but confirmed. Shanghai Gigafactory is turning out the new Tesla Model Y Junipers code name. So yeah, I guess the question is, if you've placed an order for Model Y already, Riz, will Tesla owners get a new Model Y if they've already placed an order? This is the question.
Well, I didn't put my runners on. I got in the car and I went behind one of the local distribution centers here in Melbourne, and they seem to have a bit of stock. But I think all of that would be ready for delivery. That was just before Christmas, and they wanted to deliver as many cars as possible. There has been news out of, I think, Poland. Some of the existing order holders have been told that they'll be getting their deliveries in, it's gone from I think it was January to May. But I'm not sure whether Poland gets their cars from Giga Berlin or not. So there may be a different schedule for production. It might be a staggered production or staged production across different plants, unlike Model 3, which was only being built in 2 plants, the Shanghai plant and the Fremont factory. So that's why they staged it sort of 6 months apart, I think it was. This one, you've got pretty much all factories producing them. So, you've got Texas and Berlin on top of Fremont and Shanghai. So that's where it gets interesting. How will they do this changeover, and what will happen to the different models being produced at the same time? So yeah, I'd still think Shanghai would be first.
Yeah, John OX is saying the Juniper looks like the Xpeng G6. I don't disagree. It's starting to look very similar, the G6 and the Y. I think this is my bet for 2025. I think the G6 is going to give the Y, of all the new Chinese entrants, I think the G6 is probably the one to watch. That'll probably give the Y the run for its money. Gents, you both have seen the G6 in person. You were there with me on launch night in Sydney. It's a pretty compelling vehicle. And, pretty much exactly the same dimensions, great software, great sort of auto drive that they've got as well. Great charging speed. It's I think it's the one to watch. All right, let's keep pushing on. Thanks for your comments, everyone. And SWS is also saying, finally getting the BYD charge upgrade done on his Seal next week. That's great. So, yeah, got a few comments on my BYD video saying that they haven't got their updates yet. So if you've got a service coming up, because if I'm getting my my anniversary date coming up, a lot of you must be as well. So make sure you ask your BYD service center about that Tesla retrofit if you are coming up to that year mark for your BYD Seal. Yep, and Grandpa's got a comment. I've honestly never been a fan of the Y. Prefer the model long range rear-wheel drive. If it was going to be a Tesla, always rear-wheel drive for me. Yeah, I agree. I think a rear-wheel drive just handles a bit better, just from a driver's point of view, for sure. Let's talk driving too, talk steering. And Richard says G6 looks good, but people will often go with a brand they know. Tesla equals BEV. Yeah, that's true. It's the highest selling car for a reason, for all those reasons that Riz said. The infrastructure is great, servicing is good, vertically integrated, so it is an easy car to buy for sure. Billy's asking for a side-by-side photo of a G6 and Y. Well, I'm not sure if I can manage, but I'll put up a picture of an Xpeng G6, and maybe I'll flick between the two, so just to give you guys an idea of what they look like. So I'll just share this screen here. So this is the Xpeng G6. There it is there, a pic of it. And then I'll flick over to the supposed new Model Y render. So yeah, I mean they, what can I say? Teardrop shaped SUV. They are starting to look very similar. I think people have worked out that's the aerodynamic shape. Yeah. Let's keep going. And what have we got here? So Aaron mentioned he was in New York with our viewers, and here he is spotting a Cybertruck in the wild in New York on Fifth Avenue next to the Apple store. Hey, how cool is that? ALB, interesting. What does ALB stand for?
Are they a liquor maker? Are they associated with Apple in the background? Apple's supposed to be white. It's yellow in New York.
Yeah, true.
And ALB's white. What's going on, Aaron?
I love Scott's comment here. Albo official transport? Yeah. No, maybe. Who knows? Question from Paul. Can you get a mountain bike into Model Y? Has anybody tried? I've got kids' bikes into the Model Y before, but that was a while ago now.
I was going to say 2 kids' bikes you can do. 40 centimeters, 12 inches, no problems.
Hey, there you go. Roland's got the specs. He's your man. Nice. Yeah, Cyber EV saying lots of competition to be putting up prices. Yeah, that's right. I think it'll be a race to the bottom, which would be great for consumers, and especially near the financial year as well, Riz. As people try to slash their prices.
Well, if we look at that SUV segment, 4.2 to 4.7 meters. So 4.2, you get the Volvo EX30, you have the Smart #1, and then you got your Smart #3, which you recently reviewed on your channel as well. Tom, that's a little bit bigger. You've got Zeekr X, of course. Then you've got GSE Ion V, I think, that they'll be launching in Australia. You've got potentially another brand we'll touch on a bit later that's launching in the UK that are also talking about plans for Australia. It will keep the prices where they are. The thing would be, are there enough new buyers in 2025 to keep all of these players sort of getting the volumes they need? And look, one thing is for sure, yes, Tesla's had a slightly quieter year, but I don't think they're standing still. I think they're investing quite heavily in quite a lot of their service centers, body repair centers, supercharging network. Remember, I think it was March or May, basically the whole supercharger network globally was dead, according to many media reports. And we've had over 20 new sites added in Australia this year. So there's a whole lot of pluses that Tesla's working on quietly in the background. Whether all of them equate to people, if you can buy a $40,000 or $45,000 Tesla, I think the leadership at Tesla have always said it's the pricing that's limiting our addressable market. And if all of a sudden you open up something for 40 to 50 grand that will work at any charger, any supercharger in Australia, you have reasonable service, you have basically no real servicing apart from your usual 2-yearly inspections. All of those things, if they can communicate that to buyers, regular OTAs, I think they'll have a winner in terms of, and then media is a bit different in 2025 compared to where they have been. Remember all the pushback that, any Tesla got. Now they've realized that anytime they write a story about a Tesla, it gives them the clicks and the hits that they need. So all of a sudden now, when they start talking about a $40,000 to $50,000 or $45,000 Tesla Model Q, or even the new Model Y, they have to be pretty favorable about it. Not so much from the point of view that they're getting paid by Tesla, which they're not. It's more because that's what people want, and it is still at the cutting edge of what EVs have to offer. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. I think it will attract a whole lot more attention in a positive way, which is good for EV adoption in general. It will also help sell BYD, XPeng, and other cars because the addressable market is grown.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I mean, as Aaron says, the charging network is still a compelling reason for Tesla. If the disclaimer being that it's great if you are in an area or if you want to travel where the supercharger network is. Obviously, it's not everywhere. There's nothing like plugging in a Tesla. I accept that. The next best is having a Tesla Supercharger for an EV that can accept it. That's also quite easy. Just quickly use the app, and then next best is the rest, obviously. But obviously there's auto charge as well with EV nowadays. But yeah, that's probably the most compelling reason. If you need a car that's got stalks, that's got a head-up display, instrument cluster, all those small things, then yes, I think there are other options now, which is fantastic to see. But I guess for the overall experience, yes, Tesla is still probably a very good reason to get one for sure. And what have we got? Yeah, where does the Model Q fit in the range? I mean, honestly, I would say it would be a small SUV hatch. It's got to be a 4.2 to 4.4 meter, kind of car, competing with EX30, MG4, Aura, Dolphin, that kind of size, Zeekr X. That's probably where I see it fit. Roland, do you agree, or do you think it's going to be a bit bigger?
No, I think you're right on the money. The Model 3 and the Y already cover all of the traditional medium SUV. I guess they've gone for, the 80% essentially, that you can pick the one car. Like if households had to pick one car for, say, the average 2 kids in Australia, that's the car they're going to go for, either the 3 or the Y. And the Model Q is obviously going to be for ones that are either living in metro areas like tight city parking, as an example, or a secondary car to get you around, because the Tesla model of wait and break, no servicing costs whatsoever, and the whole infrastructure that you've both just spoken about, I think that'll be the perfect fit. It's the missing piece in their market.
Yeah, that's right. I agree. And I'm reaching the stage of my life where I'm looking for a 4.2 to 4.4 meter car as well. My kids are getting older. I don't need to fit a whole bunch of stuff in the car anymore. I've basically got little adults now in the house, which is great. So I just need one SUV for the family and then one for myself to drive around. So that's probably what I'll be looking for in 2025 and beyond. Let's just keep going with a bit more Tesla news. So Tesla Cybertruck spotting in Townsville. That was 3 weeks ago though, so it's probably gone by now. And I think it might actually be I saw it back in Sydney, I think.
Yeah,
at the moment.
I heard it was in Sydney again.
Yep. And just a quick note about some Cybertrucks being bricked in the US with an update. Look, I guess that's a risk of software updates, right? Anybody who's ever worked in software, that you fix something in the foreground, something in the background might potentially break. So it is what it is. I wouldn't say it's a big issue. I think Tesla, if you read the article, they did fix it pretty quickly as well. But yeah, that is the risk you take, of course. Now, we talked about this earlier. This is Mark Rainford, an acquaintance of me and Riz, a gentleman from the UK living in China at the moment. He's just posted some pics of the the YU7, which is the Xiaomi SU7 SUV version. This is a sweet looking vehicle in my opinion. I know it's very similar to the Cross Turismo GT, which is not a bad thing. I think it's fine, but if it's an affordable version of that, hey, I'm all for it.
It's Xiaomi. They're still yet to go to a showroom. I've tried. I went to normal Xiaomi showrooms earlier in December, and I could not find the cars. But seeing them on the road, there's still something pretty special in terms of what they're offering. A regular listener listener and viewer of the show has recently had a Porsche Macan EV that he was borrowing and testing, and that looks amazing. It was charging. He showed me a photo of it charging at like 290 kilowatts and a whole lot of other things. It's an amazing car.
Nice.
But 200 grand. Like, if we could get something for 80 or 90 as a starting point, which is what the standard ICE Macans start at. They used to start at about 90 grand, which is what made them so popular for Porsche, because all of a sudden you're getting, a Porsche badge on a 90 grand car. If this car comes in anywhere between, it will be priced very similar to the Model Y in China. And then you put a 50% tax on it if it's going anywhere else. So you're going to get started about 75, 80 grand, similar sort of price point to the Zeekr 7X of what we're expecting. But looks sweet. What do you think, Roland?
So good.
I love it. If you go based on looks, I think that I'll take that over the Model Y any day.
Yes.
The front lights are like, it's from a McLaren 720S. I know it's not the same, but like literally the headlights they look almost like you could retrofit it. And the back, that light that goes around, I just think they've nailed it. It's a good looking car, and hopefully, and this is just me being wishful, the SU7, there's an SU7 Ultra. They could make a YU7 Ultra too.
Yeah, I'm with you, Roland. If that comes to Australia, sign me up. This is a sweet looking car. I don't care if you call it a poor man's Porsche. I'll take it. Honestly,
Same. I'll take it.
I'll
Doesn't
take
matter.
it too.
I'll take it. It's right.
Look at the light signature. That looks amazing, hey? Even the SU7 looks cool as well. What a great looking vehicle. I remember in the Driven there was an article about it, the Xiaomi brand potentially doing exports.
Yeah.
Riz? Yeah. So hopefully in 2025 that'll be fleshed out a bit more. Hey, that'd be great.
Well, I think if one company that can do it, it's probably them, because it was earlier this month and there's some reports about them looking or building up an international market research team. They've got stores. They've got over 100 physical stores outside of China. They've already been testing and getting one of their cars or a couple of their cars to places like Malaysia, in a shopping center in KL. They're showcasing the vehicles as a bit of a pop-up store. So they can build them. They're building them pretty quickly. They may build over 130,000 of them, or deliver 130,000 of them before the end of the year. They had a target of 100,000 when they officially announced the car in April. So it's not like they're just making announcements like the Apple had been. They're delivering them, and you see them when you're in China, and it's just phenomenal what they've been able to achieve in such a. And apparently, from all accounts, the UI UX on the inside is like top notch, and everything is just. And enthusiasts, the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra with tri-motor setup, the prototype lapped the Nürburgring in under 7 minutes from a brand that nobody really heard of in car making until this year. That the CEO of Ford's been driving one up in the US. We saw that as well, and he doesn't want to give it back. So
And he openly said that as well.
Yeah, he did. He posted it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm like you, Riz. Every time I go to China, I've only been a couple of times, but I'm going again next year. I mean, I every time I want to go there, it's like a Where's Wally? I'm looking for the Xiaomi SU7, right? I've seen it once or twice on the road. Looks sick. It looks great. Been to a few Xiaomi stores, haven't seen it yet in person, but I'll keep looking. It's like my Where's Wally? I've got to find the Xiaomi SU7, along with the Wuling Mini and the BYD Seagull. Yeah, it's a great looking car. And Beyond EV, Porsche, I love it. Porsche.
That's it.
Great call. Are they already meeting the China demand? I think. See, I always thought, why would they export these cars when there's a big market in China? But clearly, there's a bit of a cutthroat situation happening there with all these brands. They need to export, obviously, to make bottom line, but also, I guess, for credibility too, to say that they're an international brand, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one of the main reasons as well. But also, it's I think it's the earlier point, Tom. If you look at this car, or even the SU7, it's cheaper than a Model 3 as a starting price of a car that's bigger in size, has quite a lot of the dynamic features. So, yeah, not entirely sure, whether it's, like they've got multiple reasons, but that's definitely one of them. And I think the Chinese government is very encouraging of automakers that can export. This year, China will export 6 million cars, and they will have produced just over 31 million. And industry analysts say that if they're producing 31 million cars, they have double that, and you get their production capacity. So they can make up to 60 million cars today. Xiaomi does have a second factory that is under works, and I think it will be done by April, May. But they can do it with the first one, and they seem to be producing well over 10,000 cars a month now. And when this comes in an SUV segment, it's going to blow the socks off. They don't want to make the mistake that Polestar made. They had Polestar 2 for far too long as a sedan, but this is obviously next level. So very exciting, and they can make a lot more margin in international markets. As I said, if they're going to sell this at Model Y prices in China, which is around about 45 to 50,000 Australian dollars, and they can sell the same car in Australia for 80 grand, I think they'll do it.
Oh, they'll do so well. Those numbers are like staggering, seriously. We celebrated 100,000 EVs in 2024 recently. And BYD, here we go, 500,000 NEV cars per month at the end of 2024. Like, it's just insane. A staggering scale in China. Amazing. And got some comments here from the audience. Yeah, Grandpa's asking me if I'm going to give up the sedan. No, I'm never giving up the Model S. It's like the anchor for the channel to show people it can be done. They can last a long time, EVs. And SWS is saying, I'm already poor, sign me up. Yep, amen. I'm with you there. Yeah, YU7 507 kilowatts. It's crazy. It's
yes.
stupid. So much power. Something's the Seal is 600, I think. 600 kilowatt all-wheel drive performance. That's a lot. What's your Model Y performance, Roland? Do you remember?
I think it's 350 or 390.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 350 or 390. I can't get the official because I've seen some journalists post, some of the big media websites publish about 353. Some have also posted 393. So unless we can get validation from somewhere,
Dyno.
it's somewhere between that. Yeah, could do dyno one day. Yes.
Now that I've seen dynos, you know, Russians, when they get a hold of a car, they will chuck it onto a dyno, and they've done comparisons before the Model 3 Highland performance came out, and I think it was pushing the Model 3 performance was pushing over 340 or 350 kilowatts at the wheels. So I think the Vibe, I believe, had a slightly different rear motor. But yeah, it's anywhere between those specs, Roland. It's 350 to nearly 400.
So if it's 350 at the wheels, it'd be just about 400. In that case, on an all-wheel drive dyno, it's lost about 50 kilowatts.
Wow.
Yeah, nice. I could be wrong about the Seal. I must have misread. If it's only 393 for Model Y performance, I'm sure Seal's not 600. It's stupid
I
numbers.
think it's 380 or something like that.
It'd be 300 something.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, and Tassie EV's asking about the charging speed for the Xiaomi. I think it's 800 volts, so you'd expect 250 kilowatt, surely, for a car.
Yeah,
like that.
Something like that.
Yep.
We'll have to double check for our 2025 show.
Yep. And if Xiaomi's watching, hey, we all three of us here, happy to go and check it out for you guys, and drive it around somewhere like Shenzhen or something, test it out. Can they do a Porsche hot hatch? Well, yeah, I'll take that too. Yeah, like a 911 copy. That I'd be happy with that as well, anytime. Now, Mayo's asking about the BYD Charger upgrade for the Seal. No costs. It's covered under warranty, so just go hassle them. And tell them Tom sent you. Happy to drop my name. It's the battery power that limits you, says Richard, not the motor power. BEV power is complicated. Yeah. Yep, I agree, Richard. I personally am just, just read specs. Don't really fully understand it. But yeah, numbers are crazy for these cars. Let's keep going. We've got news from Ampol. You can now buy a home charger for $699. Offer ends end of January for this home charger. Do you guys want Ampol in your home? Is that a bit weird?
Can I be cheeky and ask if we need an app to run it?
Well, this is exactly that, Roland, because I thought when they first launched Ampol or Amp Charge as a brand, that was 2022, I think it was, and we could download the Amp Charge app as a separate app, which was white labeled off some other company, which was fine. Now, over the last year or so, they've pushed people to basically say, delete your Amp Charge app, download your Ampol app, and now you're in mix with all the other fuel stuff, save your 4 cents a liter, plus at the same time, pay full price for using our chargers. So they're incentivizing, obviously, ICE drivers, but yeah, I don't know. It's for anyone that's interested, I think without looking at the exact specs of this particular charger, but for anyone that's interesting, I think a Tesla wall connector with the 7.2 meter cable tethered is a better option, and they're only about $800. They don't have an introductory offer.
Yeah, I agree, Riz. I think between Ampol and Tesla, I think I'd probably just take the Tesla charger. I don't know how smart this charger is. Has anyone installed this before? Has it got solid charging? Does it have export data for tax purposes? I don't know. I know the Tesla charger, if you don't have the Tesla system, is a bit dumb. There's nothing else to it, but I'm not sure the Ampol Charger offers much more, to be honest. So yeah, let us know in the comments if you have a bit of feedback from Richard. Ampol app is bad. I agree, and so does Aaron. Aaron's saying that as well, as is Murray. Yeah, Riz and I, we've tried the Ampol app at Pheasant's Nest in New South Wales with the MG4. It is tricky to handshake with that app, to say politely. Let's keep pushing on. We've got Gary showing us a new charger at Fisherman's Bend in Victoria. I'm not sure where that is. Riz can probably enlighten us.
I think it's near Fisherman's Bend. Is that near Port Melbourne? Yeah, I think so. It's inner city.
Yeah, we want to see more of this. We want to see big national brands like Woolies, Coles, Dan Murphy's, Bunnings, you name it, installing DC chargers like this. And this looks reasonably user-friendly. It looks very much like Chempower-like. It's got the loopy, cable there. I think, Riz, if I'm not wrong, this could be installed by EVSE Australia, Brendan and Sam.
I think it's Ocular. The only other charger that I can think of is Autel, but I believe these are EVSC chargers.
Yeah, cool. I'm not sure what the max charging rate is. I've seen 60 kilowatts. I don't know.
Between 40 and 60, I think.
Yeah. I think that's probably okay for like stopping at Woolies for an hour, maybe do a shop. That's probably okay, but probably not so much for a highway stop. But hey, the more the merrier, I say. And well painted as well, nice and green. Although it could be the Woolies pickup area as well. It's hard to know with that kind of green. But yeah, it's good. So congrats, Woolies, for doing that. Hopefully we'll see more in 2025. It's great.
There's also word on the street that Aldi is looking for something similar, as into... so yeah, it could be, a couple of supermarkets jumping on board. Plus, we had just before Christmas, good friends out of the UK, GridServe, announced that they'll be pushing out the Flow Power Highway, electric highway in Australia. So more and more charging brands coming into the market, which is quite exciting. And hopefully, finding chargers would be a thing of the past in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yep, absolutely. Roland, Riz, and myself, we trip land because we're quote unquote early adopters in EVs. But yeah, the day where we just rock up, no worries. That's the day I want to see, like a nice driver. That's where we've hit parity.
But think about the adoption side, right? All of a sudden now you go to your local Woolies, you're gonna do a shop anyway. This shows that hey, EVs are real, EVs are here. People now start to look at these and say, oh, if they can do it, we can do it. They must be local. They're charging at a Woolies. So yeah, I think all of this combined effort, plus what the manufacturers, we've spoken about how much competition there is going to be in 2025 in Australia. It's all sending one message that EVs are here. No point talking about a hybrid vehicle when you can get an electric car today and you can charge it at your Woolies.
Yep, correct. And Roland, you've checked out, the Tesla products at Bunnings as well. Like whether they like it or not, Bunnings, Woolies, Coles, Dan Murphy's, these are the leaders in business and industry in our country. So we need to see chargers at these locations to show mainstream Australia that hey, it's all good. It's okay to have EVs in where mum and dad shop every day. So bring it on.
Bunnings especially, like the amount of solar that they have. Like I made a video when I went to look at the Bunnings one. I don't even know what the figures are because the TV was down when I was trying to look at it. But I am sure that they have a couple of hundred panels easily at each site. So, and I mean, in all seriousness, not to talk down the Bunnings business, but have you ever seen a full Bunnings car park? I never have. Like they have space for chargers.
You're right. There's a lot of redundancy. Even my local Bunnings, there's like 2 layers of parking, and yet it's never full. I always go down to the bottom because I don't want to fight up the top. You're right. There could be spaces for lots of chargers. I
think it's a matter of. I think they're partially sort of like a bit of a property business at the same time. So I'd say another big change that happens in 2025. I think it's mandatory emission reporting for starting with 2025 for companies. I think that have turnover over $500 million, which means that all of these companies will need to showcase how they're reducing their emissions or helping the country reduce emissions in an open and transparent way to their shareholders, which will be in publicly available reports. None of these businesses want to be caught doing the wrong thing or not actually assisting with decarbonization, including areas like transport, which what EVs falls under. So how good would that look? And let's say our West Farmers or sort of Woolworths report to say that they've rolled out 50 sites across the country, helping reduce X amount of CO2 because they are charging them from the solar that they've already got on site, or Woolworths and whoever it is. So some really big pushes coming for these companies to do the right thing and start to install more chargers, which will be really good for EV adoption.
Yeah, correct. Great point by Grandpa too. Imagine if a couple of the Chinese brands teamed up with a supermarket for charging units like Starbucks, Volvo have done it, Starbucks in the US. That would bring a lot of credibility to a Chinese brand. And we know BYD's sponsoring the Sydney Roosters NRL team, as has Souths with MG with Souths. This would create a lot of credibility of, say, like Xpeng and Woolies, or like Zeekr and Coles or something. Like it would put that brand front and center of everyone's minds, having their chargers or something to do with the brand at these locations. So really good suggestion there, Grandpa. It's great. Loving the red EV6, by the way. Great looking car. I love it. Now just pushing on, we've got Peter, who's been sharing these photos with me and the team. Banara Point, which is in the Tweed Head, just in the north of New South Wales and southern Queensland border. This is the EV auto charge working now, which is great. So if you're up that way over the summer holidays, go check it out. It's right near a shopping centre, so great location too. Thanks, Peter. Much appreciated. And let's go some more with chargers. So this is Griffith Tesla Supercharger. There's at least, I think, 6 stalls here. 5 there and then 1 on the side. So great to see more Tesla Superchargers. V4, so I think they're probably all EVs too. I can see the familiar red sign. Griffith is in the northern part of New South Wales, just north of Sydney. So great little stop there on the way north from Sydney. And we've got more as well from Parks, which is out in the central west of New South Wales. So this is good. I think this is 5 stalls, potentially. I think that dirt track might be just temporary for now. I'm not sure. I did read a comment about that, so good to see more chargers around town. As you said, Riz, earlier, Tesla looked dead in the water with charging, but great to see some more sprouting up as well. Are these part of the New South Wales funding grants, though?
Charles may know better, but likely, because I think Veras EV4 stalls now. They've just opened a site here in Victoria, in Terrelgan. They've got V3 superchargers there. So, and if they're not today, then they're probably going to be open to non-Teslas soon, as I think New South Wales is probably the most friendliest state when it comes to rolling out EV charging. So wouldn't be surprised they're part of it.
Yep, it's good. And good to see they're open as well to all cars. And it'll be great to have tap and go facilities. And if GridServe come to Australia, we welcome you, our charging overlords. We need to have tap and go. Like, that is surely got to be the gold standard in 2025. If you want a discount, do the app thing, but tap and go, if you're a tourist or you just don't care, if you just want to get out of there quickly, then tap and go should be the way to go.
Apparently, for any of our viewers that are in Victoria, the new BP sites that have opened up in pretty sure Epping, that have the 300 kilowatt Alptronic chargers there as well, they have some sort of a tap and go facility, or basically credit card payments. So if anyone's out there and they happen to swing past, check it out. If you can charge with a credit card, let us know, share it with Tom or myself, and Roland as well, around does it work? What is it like? Because that would be pretty cool. We want to see credit card payments enabled. That would be the easiest sort of way of anyone buying a new EV can charge there without. I know plenty of people that still don't have a ChargeFox app on their phones. They don't know what ChargeFox is. They've had an EV for the last 6 months, or an EV networks. So, if it's as easy, and they're scared to go to those sites because they just don't know what to expect. So if we can have it as easy, you can just go there and just tap your card and it will work. That's what we need.
Exactly. Yep. If Sydney Trains can do it, then surely CPO can do it as well. Seriously. Like, I would have thought Sydney Trains were the last people to do tap and go with a credit card, but it's amazing in Sydney. You just put your phone on the thing and it goes. You don't even need to double tap your side of the phone. Just leave it there. It's amazing.
And that's the thing. When Victoria hasn't got it, Tom, my key doesn't work. It's a horrible system. There's no way they're going to upgrade that. So But if basically this credit card payments or tap and charge actually works at Epping for anyone that tests it, then we have definitely surpassed Victoria Department of Transport on getting anything that is remotely connected to what Sydney trains can do today.
Yeah, that's right. Great comment by Paul. I'm still waiting for a motel chain to run the numbers on overnight charging. That's so true, right? It saves tourists time and hassle. Check-in, plug-in, sleep. That would be so good for tourism, honestly. And yeah, Charles is saying construction of the new 20-stall supercharger at Goulburn. Hey, that's so good. Near the big Merino. I just passed that on my trip to Canberra with the depow. And now that, if that's all EVs, which I'm sure it will be, you got Goulburn, then you got, I think, is it Yass is all EVs as well? Yep, Yass.
Yep.
And then Albury. So if you've got an Xpeng G6 with a 200 kilowatt charger, that's 3 stops. Boom, you're done. All 3 supercharging stops. Easy, happy days. So yeah, hopefully that'll be commissioned soon. Thanks, Charles. Great update.
That Goulburn one is around the corner from the new racetrack that recently reopened. That used to be called Wakefield Park.
Oh.
So very good for whoever's going to go down there. Tom, I think when that time comes, we need to test it.
That's us, Roland. Ioniq 5N, Model 3 Performance.
Xiaomi, if you're listening,
Xiaomi.
We do have some partial Mandarin-speaking staff on host that can make sure that
I've got the Xiaomi app too. I've got a Xiaomi app.
He's got it. Roland's got it. Tom will test drive it. I will be the charging plug holder that will plug it in, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, I know the word for fast. That's all you need. There's only one word. Universal language transcends all barriers. Yep, Tassie EV, I agree. Contactless payment and plug and charge. Got to be the way. Let's keep going. Any more comments? Yep, Tassie EV. Sydney trains are amazing. Yep, correct. Credit card facilities, very easy. Don't need to download any stupid apps or anything like that. And Richard's saying quite a few motels and hotels in South Australia have RA 7 kilowatt chargers with excellent off-peak charging rates. Excellent. Good. RRA is doing some good things there, kicking some goals in South Australia. Now, speaking of fast charging, check this out, gents. So Richard on, I think, X has tagged a lot of us about this is probably the fastest version 4 Tesla Supercharger I've seen in Australia. 325 kilowatts. Is this a typo or is this real?
Well, not sure, but Abbotsford, that was, I think, maybe it was opened last year or the year before. It's in a bottom of a very small shopping center. And if they can get 325 kilowatts per stall, but what vehicle is that even for? Because
Xiaomi.
Yeah, that's right. Porsche Macan. Yeah, that's actually not far from, I think, Porsche's HQ in Collingwood. So maybe that's what it's for. But yeah, very cool.
Yeah, 325. Yeah, I mean, maybe Seeker 7X. I could go down there and test that out, Riz.
Yeah.
Call Andrew up.
Plans.
Yep.
It's interesting because the base model of the 7X, and we touched on it, I think, in the last episode, that's heading to Europe, that has 480 kilowatt charging. So we'll see if we get that here, but very, very cool.
That's some fast charging. 10.5 minutes, 10 to 80%. Yeah, that's not even enough time to do a number 2, seriously. Well, sometimes. That's really quick. Yeah, I can't wait to test that baby out. And yeah, so just sticking with charging. Speaking of number 2s, here's someone who has, at Christmas time, you've got this one relative, right, that they think they're funny at the dining table, and they're not really, but you kind of have to respect them a bit and just laugh along or go with it. This kind of person is what, I expect them to be like that, to doing this. I think they're funny putting a supercharger cable in the back of this clearly ICE car with a number plate showing, and clearly has Bosch on the back of their car, so they're some sort of tradie. This is ridiculous. Like, it's not, this is beyond the joke. Seriously.
And Sunshine State, I think that's where they are.
Yep.
But
yeah,
not good.
Yeah. Everything's recorded these days, guys. Just don't do it. Like, seriously, you're blocking a charger. Someone could be desperate to get out of there and need a top up with their EV. So, yeah, it's not funny. Anyway, there's the number plate publicly displayed for everyone to see. Now, on better news, Roland, you shared a picture of the new EV6 at the Australian Open, which kicks off very soon.
Yeah, so new redesigned front bumper, and there's also rear bumper redesigned, new wheels. I don't think that's the GT model because there's no green brakes, but it's all coming soon, and that's basically one of the first views that we have. So most likely, what it looks like is the new. Every year they obviously bring a new car that sponsors the Australian Open. Obviously, just Kia themselves. They had EV6 a few years back. Then I think it was the EV9, and now coming back with the EV6 to transport everyone. So yeah, watch this space for anyone that goes down there.
Yeah, I think the new side lights look different, look nice. Just a bit of a departure from the current design, but otherwise that's pretty similar. The back looks pretty similar too, but hopefully different specs. I haven't seen anything else. Riz, have you with upgraded specs?
The only thing I know, and maybe I'm wrong in this one, but they are starting to put in the 84 kilowatt hour battery pack, which is in the Ioniq 5N.
Yes. And
Um,
in the GT is what I've read.
yeah,
Yep. Speaking of Ioniq 5N, check out Roland's video there in the corner. He's
yeah.
tearing
thank you.
around, tearing around somewhere. It's a great car, isn't it? It's a shame it hasn't sold that many more. It's a fun car on the track, I've got to say.
They're being discounted so heavily.
Ooh, really? How much?
I put in the video without even negotiating at all. Easily on car sales, New South Wales, there's 4 you could pick for $95,000 drive away.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
So that's coming from $125,000 on their website.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So,
That's more than 30% saving.
so yeah.
I actually saw one. I saw one in the wild in the northwest up your way, Roland. So someone has actually bought one of these, and they look pretty good, I must say, in that color too.
We have a member of AVA in Victoria that does vehicle to sausage at some of the AVA events with his Ioniq 5N, and yeah, very cool car. It's great, but yeah, I think like most things, Kia did the same thing with the you remember the GT? Is it the GT, the top spec that they had? They were cutting like 20 odd grand off the price, and apparently the same for EV9 as well. So they, the original price is you should not be paying that. So 5N, 95 grand. I guess there'll be some dealers that could probably get closer to 90. That brings it close to a Model 3 Performance. Model 3 Performance still a bit cheaper, with the new track mode and the rest of it. So yeah, but good looking car and lots of tech and very fast, the 5N.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a beautiful looking car. Good question from Ray. I wonder if the Oz F1 GP will use an EV for the safety car, right? That would be awesome having the Ioniq 5N. What else is a fast car? Porsche Taycan could use that as well.
Yeah.
And Model 3, well, probably not Tesla, but yeah,
They've
that'd be
traditionally
cool.
stuck to their Mercedes F1 and Mercedes performance car, so you never know. They could get one of them.
Aston Martin, they use that too sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Oscreamer, surely EV5s will be there. Yeah, you would think so. At the Australian Open.
Yeah, they should be. They've I think they sold 199 of them in November. I'm expecting a relatively big one in December. I've been riding around. Well, I've been driving one for the last couple of days, and I'm very impressed with the EV5 for what it has and what it's going to offer. It's looks like an EV9, drives relatively well, has the BYD blade batteries in it, and it's priced relatively okay. If those price cuts on the 5N are anything to go by, we might see them under 50 grand by the sort of middle of next year.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe bet. It's a front-wheel drive. That's the only thing with the base model, but all-wheel drive is pretty good. If you really don't want a Chinese car, if you want a brand that's obviously been around, then Kia EV5, I agree, is great option, 100%. Well, let's keep pushing on. There was a fire in an EV at Allendale, New South Wales before Christmas. Just following up with EV Fire Safe. I'm just monitoring what they're doing with the investigations, but it looks like it was a Model Y, I think, tearing down this road, catching fire. So we'll keep an eye on that as it happens.
They reckon arson?
Yeah, that was one theory. Yep. A lot of water as usual to put it out, but yeah, we're going to report everything, of course. Roland, you posted this as well. Skywell B11 EVA5 ADR approval, 2 variants, 72 kilowatt hour and 86 kilowatt hour. So pretty good offerings there.
Yeah, and only on my comment there, the only one call out was I think it's typo, but the length was different between the two variants, which to me was a bit odd. With a bigger battery, surely the car's not longer.
No, that would seem unusual. Yeah, I'll have a look at this design here. So it's a pretty boxy up the back. How big is it? 4.7, so Model Y-ish size, Xpeng size.
To
Possibly
me, it
everything.
reminds me of a Subaru Outback. It's not exactly like a low slung wagon. It's a bit higher off the ground, but it does have that wagon shape.
Yep, I agree. Could be a big, like a long Forester maybe. But yeah, you're right. It's a bit taller than the Outback. Yeah, I mean, the price will be everything. If they can get it under 50, like the Leap Motor C10, it'll be very compelling. Are they front wheel drives? Can't see.
I think it is.
Yeah. Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. Another one to add to the inventory for next year. Now, let's touch on this, Riz. So, NIO reporting a launch in the UK with the Onvo L60 in 2025.
Yeah, so before Christmas, we sort of spotted this. And then leading up to Christmas, NIO held their NIO Day 2025, which was live streamed on YouTube. And what else do you do on one evening? You just sit there and watch the founder talk about their awesome new cars they'll be launching, including one that is in competition with the Mercedes S-Class and Maybach, the Neo ET9, I think it is. But Onvo, of course, that's a brand they're doing quite well in China at the moment. So they will be going to the UK, which is right-hand drive and very promising. 900-volt architecture, as you've sort of pointing out there, Tom. Potential battery swapping, but I mean, there's 1,000 NIO charging stations out of the 3,000 that they have that can support the Onvo vehicles. But obviously, putting that infrastructure in international markets is quite difficult. They have a few in Europe. Not sure if any of them are compatible with Onvo, but it's just really positive to see that this car that's quite efficient, looks quite nice, is going to be going to a right-hand drive market, which is the first. Usually they go to Thailand and then go elsewhere, but this time around we're seeing it to the UK, which is great. And they're having a very good year in 2024 for EV adoption, approaching, I think, 20% or over 20% of all new vehicle sales are now EVs, which is really good.
Yeah, I agree. It's a nice looking vehicle. It's like obviously NIO's budget brand. I mean, budget's a bad word. It's, I don't know, more affordable brand, I should say. There's no sign of NIO coming to Australia that we can see, so hopefully Onvo will come here instead and provide an affordable option. This, I don't know, is this like a 4.5 maybe? Or is it bigger than that? I can't tell.
I think it's bigger than a Y. Slightly bigger than a Y. It has a lot of legroom in the back.
Yeah, right. I mean, if this comes to Australia and it's got battery swapping tech, are we going to see battery swapping stations in Australia? Imagine that. That'd be cool.
Well, CATL in China is making quite a big deal out of their stuff that they're starting to come with the battery swapping alliances and stuff. And they've announced a couple of days ago that there'll be two specific type of battery standards, you can call it, one for smaller cars and one for slightly larger cars. So basically, we're like buying an off-the-shelf battery that is swappable, that a lot of the OEMs will end up doing. And CATL plans on putting, I think, 30,000 swapping stations across China and elsewhere. So CATL is going pretty hard at this as well, which is great to see. And I think the Chinese government wants these EV makers to have swappable tech, because that is sort of the, then as much as people say it wouldn't make sense in Australia, I can understand why people think that way. But if we think about mass adoption and people buying plug-in hybrids today and EREVs and all of these other technologies with internal combustion engines because they've got range anxiety issues, this is part of the solution. Because when you go on a road trip, a good friend of the show, Elliot Richards, he's done a couple of recent videos with NIO. And when he was heading out to a road trip along the Silk Road, he swapped the car's standard 75 kilowatt hour battery with a 100 kilowatt hour pack so they have to charge less, and they have swapping stations all the way along. I think it's part of the mix. This car is one of the answers, and if it's going to the UK, hopefully not long after that, we will hear a bit more of what's going to happen in Australia.
Yeah, and as always, time is money. So you would expect the cost to be associated with a quick charge like that. There'll be different subscription plans, as there are in China now. You don't pay for the battery, you pay for a subscription, flag for whatever the cost of the battery, energy itself. And yeah, I think it opens itself to more models of EV ownership and leasing in the future. So I think it's exciting with this coming to Australia potentially. So we'll keep an eye on this for sure. And again, Onvo, Neo, you know where we are, Riz, myself, and Roland. Happy to check it out for you guys.
One very, very quick last point. They launched another brand called Firefly.
Mm.
And that was launched on the same Neo Day a couple of days ago. This thing is supposed to compete with the Smart #1 and the Mini Cooper Electric. So it's a small hatchback. It looks like they've taken inspiration for the front and rear headlights from the latest tri-camera iPhone. It's supposed to be for younger people. It's looking, it's sort of the second picture.
It almost looks like the Honda E, don't you think?
Yeah, it does.
Right? Similar shape?
It does.
Yeah. I saw one on the road the other day. It's a shame that never took off. It's very cute. That's okay. That's budget, right? And I say that in the nicest possible way. Like, there'll be a market for this.
Yes.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that one too. Cool. And whipping through the end of the show, guys, we've got BYD Seal being named Car of the Year in Japan. Yay, I'm driving Japan Car of the Year. And speaking of EREV, so Huawei Cherry launching the new Luxeed R7 EREV with a 1,000-mile range. I think this has got a 200-kilometer EV range in it, from memory. A 36 kilowatt hour battery. Yeah, that sounds about right. Then 1.5 liter turbo engine, assuming that's a generator. Yes, to charge the rest. So EV first once again. So again, another model of range extender for those who are just not quite ready to take the red pill when it comes to EVs. And we've seen the Luxeed Riz and I in China. Looks quite a nice car. Yeah. So keep an eye on that one too. And just the end the news part of this show, we've got someone spotting an LF electric truck. Nice, thank you for that. I'll keep that picture. Gents, before we wrap up, I just want to get your thoughts. 2024 has been a big year. Lots has happened this year compared to last year. Almost exponential growth in news and things that we've been involved with. I'll start with you, Roland. What's been some of your highlights this year for you? You've grown a lot with your channel too.
Yeah, thanks. Highlights, obviously hitting that 1,000 subscribers on the Ludicrous Feed stream. So thank you, everyone here. I think the big things for me, I think, is just general growth for everything. Like, I've enjoyed meeting yourself in person, Riz, as well. Going through a lot of these events and just doing this on the side, like, it's enjoyable. As an actual car guy and a car enthusiast, I think it's nice to see like-minded people, and also being able to talk to people who really think cars are just a box with four wheels, and kind of give them my perspective. And also driving that Hyundai Ioniq 5N, highlight of the year for sure.
Definitely, we want to see more of that in 2025, Roland. Riz, highlights for you. There's so many. Seriously, you've got like a whole money bin full of it, surely.
Well, that's right. Speaking of money bin, I was gifted another Spectre. You can see one in the background. I've got a Spectre there.
Yes.
I was gifted another Spectre.
Hey.
And apparently, it's got. Apparently, if you open the door. Oh, it's locked itself. Sorry. That was one of the highlights. No, but in all seriousness, there's a lot of it's Tom, we've touched on a couple of times that there's just so much happening, and in this case there's three of us, and to try and get around to everything, and I think most also have daytime jobs and trying to get things going. It's been pretty exciting. I think the prediction we had, the Chinese brands will start to pay a lot more attention to Australia, although we are a right-hand drive market. has started to come through, and now there's just a whole, so many new ones coming in, which is exciting, all coming in at different points as well. And they are valuing the kind of content that, Tom, yourself, Roland, and some of the stuff that I do that we're putting together, and the amazing community that we have in Australia who are really excited about this EV transition. So I think the timings worked really well this year. The highlight from a car point of view, the Model 3 Performance, the new Model 3 Performance is a lot of car for the money, for not only electric car enthusiasts, but also sports car fans. I touched on earlier about the type of reception that Tesla has traditionally gotten and what they got on the back of this car. There were US media that said that BMW M3, which is the pinnacle of sort of sports cars, that cost nearly 3 times as much as the Model 3 Performance, is basically dead. So Tesla has continuously improved on that vehicle, plus getting to drive all the stuff with Zeekr and Geely and other brands that, just seeing China and how things have changed and how exciting it is over there just gives us a glimpse of what's to happen here, which obviously, Tom, you've experienced multiple times as well. So thank you to all the brands that have given us a shot to having a look at what's happening over there, taking us for tours of factories and everything else. And it just allows us to tell the story of what a fantastic sort of variety of vehicles we're going to get, that everyone that is watching this show, listening to the stream, if you're ever interested, just go and test drive one. You'll get to see how good they are, and they're all coming. So thank you, everyone. Just very exciting time.
Yeah, well said, Riz and Roland. For me, my highlights has to be visiting China this year twice. Fantastic opportunity to see how much progress they've made. And, once you go there, you realize, hang on, it's not what I thought it was going to be, just from what I've read back in the West. So that was definitely a highlight, seeing the BYD headquarters just on a different scale, what they've got there. And also driving the Rolls-Royce Spectre for me, actually. That was something I'd been working towards this year to try and get. And they were kind enough to actually loan it to me for 6 very precious hours of my life. So I'll remember that for a very long time. So thank you to Rolls-Royce for that. And all the car launches we went to this year, Riz and myself, and Roland too, that was great to see. And for me, looking forward in 2025, all these brands coming, seeing what they do and what to make of it all, really, and how to compare them all. And it's an exciting time for the transition. I think we're still in the infancy for sure, but it'll take off, I think, very, very soon. So lots to look forward to, gents. I think you can probably agree 2025 is going to be an exciting year. I just want to thank Roland once again for filling in for Riz this year and also coming on our final show of the year. You've been a great help, and we'll see more of you next year too.
No, thanks, Tom. Thanks all.
And Riz, I can't thank you enough, honestly, a co-host for this year. You've done a great job, and your insights are always valued very much on the show. So thank you once again.
Always happy to be on, and seeing Roland and others out when we go to these events. Everything electric will be on in March. That will probably be the first main event. So if anyone's interested, come say hi to the three of us. And there's very, very excited to always be part of the show and just to see everything evolve. So thank you, Tom, for the opportunity, and for everyone for contributing and saying hi.
That's it. Well said. And yes, everything electric. I think, yes, March 2025. Come and see us. We will be there. And then there'll be other shows as well with Future Drive Auto with their Melbourne EV show. I have been put down to host again that show. So come and see me in Melbourne. And I will be heading to China actually very early in 2025. Got more details for that in the new year. So stay tuned for that too. Looking forward to heading back there. And you, the audience, is who we have to thank. Without an audience, there is no show. So once again, I just want to put this slide up because this is all for you. We donated $1,000 to the Kids Helpline in Australia here. That is thanks to all your super chats and membership purchases this year. So the more you donate on the show, the more I'll donate to a good cause like this. So keeping our kids safe, hopefully in 2025 and beyond. So thanks everyone for watching this year. This is the last show for 2025. I'll have one more show in early January before I take a little break with the family in late Jan. So we'll keep you posted with the date and time of that show. But Until then, I just want to say Happy New Year for everyone, to Riz, to Roland, to Nirav who joined us, to Elliot who joined us this year, all the guests we've had on, and all the guests, all the members that you know have been on the show with us, and all the regular viewers too. Much appreciated. Until next year, as always, from Riz, Roland, and myself, it's happy charging and take care. Bye,
See you
everyone.
guys.
See ya.
Yeah.